Interestingly enough, RFK Jr.'s running mate was recently on a podcast, and she said that her and RFK Jr. are contemplating dropping out of the race and endorsing Donald Trump. Basically saying that they will back Donald Trump and do whatever they can to reduce the risk of Kamala Harris winning the election. Now, personally, I think that's a good idea. But after she said this, Donald Trump was questioned if he would find a position within his administration for RFK Jr., and here's what he had to say.
Can I ask you about RFK? Because just moments ago, his running mate said that they were considering endorsing you. Have you considered him for a role in the administration, and what role would that be?
Well, we haven't, but I would love that endorsement because I've always liked him.
Would you also consider putting him in the administration?
You're asking me a very unusual question. I haven't been asked that question yet. I like him a lot. I respect him a lot. I probably would if something like that would happen.
Now, what I want to know from you all is, would you all be open for this? Personally, I guess maybe I need to put more thought into it, but as of right now, I'm definitely open to it. Now, I don't agree with everything RFK Jr. says. There's a lot of things, that I don't agree with when it comes to RFK Jr. But there's some things that I don't agree with when it comes to Donald Trump. I don't like how Donald Trump is still bragging about the jab. I don't like that. I like what RFK Jr. has to say about jabs, for sure. But that's one of the main things I agree with him on. And I'm well aware that, I don't agree with him on a lot of other things. But I feel like we have reached a point, ladies and gentlemen, and I am not exaggerating here. I feel like this is more than an election. And I say that this is just honestly how I feel. I wouldn't even have made this channel and even be talking about this if I didn't feel this way. But I feel like this is more than an election. I feel like in many ways this is good versus evil. And I'm not saying, Donald Trump is the shining beacon of hope. He's the best, most purest person on earth. But I'm saying I feel like this is much bigger than Trump and Kamala Harris for sure. I really feel like we are up against an evil that is trying to take away our freedom of speech and so many other things. And I think that maybe it's time that, even those of us with differences, we may have to come together to defeat a common enemy here. Throughout history, sometimes the most unlikely, of people had to come together as allies to defeat a bigger threat. Now, to be clear, I'm not sitting here saying, oh my God, Kamala Harris, she's undefeatable, what can we do? This is way bigger than Kamala Harris. This is way bigger than any political opponent. We are up against the machine, folks. We are up against a literal machine, like literally. We're up against the power of the internet, the power of AI. We're not just up against Kamala Harris. We're up against Beyonce, Taylor Swift, every freaking celebrity you can think of. Most corporations, big tech, the people who run our world, we're up against them right now. We're up against the people who know everything about you and steal your privacy and watch you on your telephones. We're up against all those corporations and companies right now. We are really up against the machine. So I think maybe it's time that we have to join forces with some people. Like the freaking Lord of the Rings, folks. We got to bring the fellowship together, folks. The elves did not get along, okay? They did not... The elves did not get along with the dwarves, and the hobbits hid from the humans. But they came together to defeat Sauron. They came together to defeat a common enemy, to stand up against evil, even though they had so many differences and they were at odds. And I'm sorry to compare this to a movie, but I thought it was only fitting. So as far as RFK Jr. joining the Trump administration in some way, shape, or form, I'm not sitting here like, oh my God, we need this. But I'm definitely not against it. I think now more than ever, it's time to find allies in this fight. Because we can disagree on a lot of things. There's some things that we should be able to hammer out, though, that we should, I think any common, decent person should be standing against a lot of the stuff that's being pushed right now. So if there's a chance for us to come together with people who we don't agree with necessarily, to defeat a common enemy, and to defeat this new wave of, I honestly don't even know what to call it anymore. It's like a mixture of Marxism, communism, socialism, freaking wokeism. I mean, alphabet mafiaism. I don't even know what to call it anymore, folks. But in order to defeat the machine, in order to rise up against the machine, we're going to need more numbers. We're going to need to find allies. We don't need to turn people away who are here to try to help. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that we should just go and just trust anyone. That's not what I'm saying here. But I think right now, we don't have much to lose. Or let me change that. We have a lot to lose. We have so much to lose. We have so much to lose that I think it's worth taking a chance. And if RFK can convince some people who are in the middle or even on the left to vote for Trump so we can get out of the hellhole that we've been living in for the last 4 years and don't sink further in it, then hey, so be it. But you all are free to disagree down in the comments below. Let me know what you think. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and if you find yourself getting too worked up by all of this, remember, it's just political cinema.